Well, Scar, here we go through 10 Mile Canyon again. 10 miles of cliffs no more than 50 feet apart. Oh, there's nothing to feel squeamish about. Besides, it's the only way to get to Smoke Falls. Don't you spook on me.
What are you shooting at?
Vint! Vint Bonner!
Well, I'll be.
Art! Put that cannon away! Art, who you gunning for?
I'm sorry, Vin. It was the sheriff.
Sheriff? Looks like I nicked you. Let me take a look at it.
All right, now, but hurry it up, because that sheriff's going to be coming here with a posse from Smoke Falls.
Hold still.
I'm in real deep trouble, Vin.
Well, it won't help none to panic.
Can't run no more. Horse is going lame. And you're out of grub.
Yeah, your arm's gonna be all right. Just took away a little meat.
Thank you.
Now, what's all this about? You in a shooting scrape?
I wish that's all it was. Clyde's dead.
Clyde?
Shot in the back.
Who shot him?
Sheriff Vale says I did it.
You kill your own brother?
Half-brother, Vent. Not that it makes much difference. The sheriff's after me just the same.
Vale, he must be new since I was around.
Well, you don't know what it was like yesterday. Took me down there to the jail. There's a gang of them hanging around listening to George Willis tell how I was a rat, and the sooner they find a rope, the better.
George Willis? I always figured him for decent enough sort.
Me too. Until we both started seeing Nadine Gray. For a while there, it seemed like she liked me better than she liked George. Did you hear that?
You're imagining things. Now, let's take this from the start. Why does the sheriff want to arrest you?
He's got to arrest somebody. George claims he saw me do it. If only I could wait till they cool down some. Vin, if you was to ride down there and meet that posse, make them see my side of it. Well, they'll respect you, Vin. They'd have to hear you out.
I've only heard your side of it.
I wouldn't lie to you, Vin. Look, I'll meet you 4 miles down the canyon at Squirrel Rock. Noon tomorrow. And I'll give myself up no matter what. All I'm asking for is a fair trial.
All right. Squirrel Rock, noon tomorrow. I'll see what I can do about that posse.
Well, I'll be dogged.
Howdy, Sam.
You know this man, Sam?
Do I know him? Why, this here's Vint Bonner. We worked side by side at the Bar Triangle 3-4 years ago. What you doing down this way?
Came down to look at some of that cattle your boss wants to sell.
Did you see anybody when you came through the canyon?
Only Art Hemper.
Doggone and Vint, that's the one we're looking for.
Yes, I know. You want him for murder.
You knew that and you let him ride on. What kind of a citizen are you, Bonner?
You could have brought him in and saved the sheriff the trouble, you know.
I've known this youngster a long time, Sheriff. He says he didn't kill his brother.
He says he didn't, and I got enough against him to hang him twice over. Do you think I'm out after him for the fun of it?
All he wants is a trial. That's not too much for any man to ask.
He'll get a trial, all right.
He was hoping it'd be a fair one. So long, Sam.
Vint Bonner.
Howdy, George.
Pay the old town a visit, huh? And he sure picked a time for it. Right in the middle of the most excitement we've had in months.
Yes, I know. I ran into the sheriff and his boys a ways back.
Oh, then you know about Art Hemper, huh? Yeah, too bad to see an old friend go to pieces the way Art has.
Most of us would if we were up against a murder charge.
No, that's not what I mean. Truth is, Art's been on the downgrade for the last couple of years.
That is too bad. I always kind of liked the kid.
Well, if you'd lived here and seen it happen day by day, you'd understand. Ever since his pa died, he's been getting worse. Drinking too much, keeping whatever troubled him locked up inside. And all of a sudden, he blows up. Too bad Clyde had to get the full force of it.
Are you saying definitely that he shot Clyde?
I sure am. You remember Nadine? Well, she's Mrs. Willis now. Well, I met her riding into town early yesterday morning. You know how women are. She was on her way to buy another new dress.
I thought it'd be all right to ride into town. I hear they've got some new dress material at the general store.
Not another dress, Nadine.
I just thought I'd look, George.
Honey, you do more than look. Buy the best they got. You're the wife of an up-and-coming rancher now. I'll meet you at your sister's place after I finish my business at the bank. You see that? You see what Art Hemper's just done? We better get out of here before we get killed, too. Hey, come on, hey.
So you got to town and reported to Vale.
I sure did. I left Nadine with her sister and joined the posse. It's a sad thing, Bet. I'm sorry it had to happen.
I think I know just how you feel, George. I'd heard Art's side of the killing, and now I'd listened to George's. I made a stop at Nadine's sister's place, but Nadine was out. I left word I'd be back, and that's when I got the idea of talking to Tom Yancey. Hello, Mr. Yancey.
Vint Bonner, come right on in. Come right in. The gate's open.
How have you been?
Fine, fine. And what brings you into Smoke Falls, Vint?
Well, I came in to look at some Bar Triangle cattle.
Fine. We'll be glad to handle any deal for you.
That's not what I want to talk about right now, though. Came to talk about Art Hemper.
What about him?
He says he didn't kill Clyde.
I never did associate him with the regular killing kind.
Yeah, looks like we're in the minority, Judge.
You know, old man Hemper married again after Art's mother died. That's how Clyde came into the family. You know, it seems that old man Hemper was doomed to have bad luck with his wives. This new one died on him about 2 years ago.
What I had in mind were motives. It sure would help Art a lot if there were no reason for him to kill Clyde.
I'm afraid Art had every reason to kill Clyde.
How's that?
Well, the old man left the whole thing to Clyde. Lock, stock, and barrel. Art was out in the cold without a nickel to his name.
You sure?
Well, I was there when they read the will. I took Art aside and told him I felt the whole thing was grossly unfair. Do you know what his answer was?
What?
He said his father owned the property, and he had a right to dispose of it any way he saw fit. I found out afterwards he stayed in town and got drunk.
How was Clyde about this?
Pleased, and to give him credit, embarrassed.
Not embarrassed enough to do anything about it, though.
Oh, he gave Art a lot of talk about how a piece of paper didn't change things between brothers. It was Art's home, and everything would be the same as it was before.
Well, much obliged, Mr. Yancey. It might help Art if you'd remember all this so you could tell it in court.
Why, Mr. Bonner.
I hope I'm not intruding, Mrs. Willis.
Why, no, it's a pleasure to see you again in Smoke Falls. I don't suppose you remember, but most of the girls here had a crush on you.
It just shows you what a fellow can miss.
Won't you sit down?
Thank you. I suppose you're wondering why I'm here.
You want to talk about Art Hemper?
Yes. George told me you witnessed the shooting.
I did. But since I'm married to George, he speaks for both of us.
Well, I have no reason to pry. I just thought I might be able to help Art.
I guess just about everybody in town is against him.
It wouldn't do any harm for you to talk. You'll have to say something at the trial anyway.
All right. But first, you ought to know that Art and I went together for a while.
He told me that.
Oh. We were very fond of each other. We even figured on getting married. And then all of a sudden, everything just came to an end.
You don't have to talk about that unless you want to.
I started keeping steady company with George.
Didn't Art turn up again?
No. I'd hear about him occasionally from friends. George never liked that, though, whenever Art's name was mentioned.
What are you doing here?
I'm on my way to town.
You have to go by Art's place to get there?
Sure. It's the shorter way. You know that as well as I do.
Maybe you think I don't know what's going on in your mind. Anybody even mentions Art's name and your eyes light up like somebody built a fire behind them.
That's a rotten thing to say just because he's an old friend.
Seems to me he was a little more than an old friend. You're in love with him, weren't you?
All right. I was in love with him. But I married you, didn't I?
Then it's high time you stop mooning over him. Seems to me like a husband's got a right to expect loyalty from his wife.
And just what do you think you've had?
Oh, listen, Nadine, I don't want to quarrel with you. All I want's the truth.
That's what I've been telling you, the truth. I'm on my way to town. I hear they've got some new dress material at the general store.
Not another dress, Nadine.
I just thought I'd look, George.
Honey, you do more than look. Buy the best they got. You're the wife of an up-and-coming rancher now. I'll meet you at your sister's place after I finish my business at the bank. You see that? You see what Art Hemper's just done? We better get out of here before we get killed, too. Hey, hey!
I reckon you know the rest of it. George asked me to wait here and then went to join the posse.
Then you actually didn't see Art shoot Clyde.
No. I told you all I saw.
And as far as you know, it could have been someone hiding somewhere around the barn.
If anything, it looked to me like he was trying to help him.
One more thing. Was there any talk of a lynching?
My husband was one of those most in favor of it.
I see. I'll be moving along.
Mr. Bonner?
Yes, ma'am?
I don't want you to get any wrong ideas. I'm a respectable woman. And I'm loyal to the man I married.
Yes, ma'am. In a day's time, I'd learned a lot about Art Hemper and a few other people. But I was as far from the truth as ever. Then it came to me that the answer was probably with Art himself. If he kept that appointment at Squirrel Rock, it would be a pretty good sign he was innocent.
You're right on time, Vint.
So are you, Art. I don't mind telling you I'm glad of it.
And get them hands up high. Get them up.
You know something? You just answered a question that's been bothering me a lot.
Don't you try nothing, Vint. Sheriff's gang's just up the canyon looking for me any time now. They're apt to find my back trail and follow it here.
Sheriff Vale's no fool. He's got guards at both ends of the canyon.
That won't stop us.
Us?
We're riding out of here together. I'm gonna be your prisoner. You take that gun, you keep it on me. Now make it look good, because mine's gonna be right here under my coat, aimed at your belly.
You'd be smart if you gave yourself up. If you killed Clyde, there's what the court calls extenuating circumstances.
They'd still hang me, and you know it. Okay, let's get going. Soon we'll be out of this canyon. I'll be a free man for the first time in my life.
You're wrong, Art. Clyde's gonna be between you and any freedom.
You think I'll give him a second thought? I hated him.
Could be you hated the wrong man. He didn't take the ranch from you. He only took what was given to him. Your own father did that.
Paul was all right. Till Clyde and his mom moved in. That's when the trouble started.
What trouble?
Two of them ganged up on me. Very first day. Everything I did was wrong. They poisoned Pa, so he was against me.
Maybe you didn't give them a chance.
I did. Figured we was even up. He had a ma. I had a pa. Guess the real trouble came when she died. I didn't care much. She never had a kind word for me, never once. Pa didn't understand. Seems from that day on, he cared more for Clyde than he did for me. I never knew how much more until he died and Clyde inherited everything. I had nothing. Clyde never gave me nothing. That's how this whole thing started. I needed some money. I went to Clyde and asked him for it. Remember that day I was in the fields working on the fences? Clyde was out in the barn currying the horses. Clyde, I've been figuring going into town. How about let me have some money?
Thought I told you to fix those fences between the pasture and the alfalfa.
I did yesterday.
And you done a mighty poor job. I was out there not an hour ago, and they're all busted down again.
Must be a new break, then.
New break, nothing.
All right, I'll fix them tomorrow. Look, all I'm asking for is $5.
By tomorrow, them cows will have all the alfalfa torn up. You're gonna ride out there now. And you better do a decent job this time.
I done a decent job. Now, you think you can do any better? Go ahead. Ain't no law says you can't fix fences same as me.
Who you think you are you can talk like that? I give you free grub, a roof over your head?
And I try to do my part. All right, I'll fix them fences now.
You bet you'll fix them.
Now, how about the money?
I'll see about it.
Look, Clyde, a man can't go on and on like this without a cent in his jeans. Now, can't you give me the money now?
If you want money, you gotta work for it. I wouldn't mind paying a little extra to a good hand.
I am a good hand, and you know it. Anybody else will give me $30 a month on top of living.
Ain't a week goes by, but I don't turn away better hands than you. All of them willing to work for keep. Art, if you don't like it around here, you can shove off any time.
You're real anxious to get rid of me, ain't you? You're soft so Pa till you got what belonged to me.
Don't think Pa didn't have you sized up. He knew who deserved the place and who didn't. Now you get along and fix them fences, you hear?
All right, Clyde. I guess I ain't got no choice.
Get!
Sure. But tonight you're gonna be asleep, and I ain't gonna be able to ask you, and I want to go to town. Look, Clyde, I'm begging you. Give me the $5, please.
I told you. I ain't paying for no drunken sprees. Now get!
You ain't gonna treat me this way no more.
I'll treat you any way I like. And you want to know why? Because you ain't no earthly good. Why do you suppose Nadine married George instead of you?
Don't you bring her name into this.
She was just playing at love with you. When it come to settling down, she picked herself a man. Now you get to work or I'll run you clean off the place.
Now maybe you can see what Clyde done to me.
Not enough to kill him.
Not enough. Stole my pa, made me lose Nadine. They ain't no use trying to make you see. Vin, don't you understand? How could I ask Nadine to marry me when I had nothing and Clyde had it all? Oh. There's George Willis. He's even worse than Clyde was. He never missed a chance to poke fun at me in town. Make a fool out of me in front of Nadine. He already had her. What more do he want? And I got my gun on you. All right, let's go.
I see you got him, Bent. Where's the sheriff?
He'll be along in a little while.
Then I'll take over for him.
They all said Bonus to take me in.
We'll take good care of you, Art. Did you ever see a man hung, kicking and fighting for breath?
George.
His face turning purple?
I'll take care of him. You go get a doctor.
Ben?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's all right, kid.
Ben. When it happens, that rope, I'm scared. You be there.
I'll be there. Well, he was lucky in one way. He didn't have to face the rope. Who would you say was to blame? Old man Hemper? Clyde? His mother? George? Nadine? Who knows how many others? They all had a hand in making Art what he was. A man just doesn't turn into a killer all by himself.